Howdy folks, and I hope you're all wearing 2 million sunblock wherever you are in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today it's the turn of the highly anticipated 2.0 version of Hot Toys' take on Robert Patrick as the T1000 from James Cameron's epic 90s sequel Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So, usual format folks, box, accessories, figure, then showcase at the end. But as always, before we dive in, I would like to send a HK size shout out to everyone who supported the channel. And please drop a like on this review as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the 6 scale news, reviews and stuff like that we've got coming up. So, I'm not going to bang on too much about T2 other than to say that it's a classic and it's the last great Terminator movie in my opinion. We will be doing a comparison of the T1000 2009 version, but that deserves a video on its own, which will be coming up pretty much straight after this one. So, on to the box. Let's take a look at the box that Hot Toys have given us. We'll stop it from spinning, get it off this turntable and have a quick look. I've got to say, first impressions, although this is not a comparison video, first impressions of the box, I am sort of preferring the original 2009 box, the silver sort of design, a much bigger box that Hot Toys gave us, but I'm an old man and I'm reminiscing. We're here to look at this one. So what you've got is the usual slipcover design. On the front you've got a picture of what I am assuming is the figure. I'm pretty certain this is the figure itself, and it's done in this sort of quite obscure red scaling on the front of the box. I'm hoping the light's catching this, and you've got this line design in the background. It says T2, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, T1000 2.0, all in this rather nice silver foil lettering. Hot Toys, movie masterpiece obviously at the bottom there. On the sides, just a continuation of that red line work. T2 again at the top, T1000 at the bottom. Swing it around the other side, pretty much the same story. On the bottom of the box, just T2 Terminator 2 Judgment Day, T1000 on the top there. Flip it round the back, and not an awful lot going on really. Just some more of those red lines and the usual credits and warnings. Everybody involved in the production of the figure, and the warnings at the bottom there. Don't piss this figure off, or it might make you a beef stew. Yeah, the box is nice, if a little subdued. It's not, the red scaling is not what I'd have gone for. I'd have lent more into the silvers, and I am probably preferring the older box, but as I say, that's just me. So, slipcover design, we'll pop the slipcover off. Obviously, you are greeted with the usual Hot Toys windowed front cover there, and with all the accessories and the figure behind it. The box itself, relatively simple, other than the back, where you've got some more shots of the figure in that red scaling again. T2 Judgment Day, T1000. So that's the box, folks. So brand new figure, this one literally just comes straight through the door, gone straight in front of the camera. We will do as we always do. We will crack the seals open and we will dive down onto the table and have a look at all the accessories that come with your T1000 figure. Okay folks, so accessories out, and as you can see there is an absolute shit ton of stuff to go at here. So I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as I can and make it as brief as possible, or we're going to be here for an entire week just looking at the accessories. Mundane stuff, set of instructions, so always good to see, yeah, and I would recommend having a look at these because there are some bits and pieces on here that do require some attention. So yeah, set of instructions, put those to one side. Hands, you get 11 hands in total. There's a relaxed pair on the figure. We'll take a look at those when we bring them out. We'll grab a couple at random just to see what the quality is like. And as always, it's what we've come to expect from Hot Toys here. Excellent sculpting, great paint applications. You can see the vein work in the hands there. You've got pointing finger hands, gripping hands, just sort of open palm hands, and yeah, the level of sculpting and paint application is of the usual high standards. You've even got cuticles in there if the light's catching that, cuticles in those nails. So yeah, skin tones and textures really nice, paint applications great, and sculpting very good indeed. Let's do the flexibility test. Let's grab a hand at random. Yeah, and it's the usual story. It's a soft to medium here from Hot Toys, and you can see there's reddening to the knuckles. Yeah, and it's just the usual high standard that we've come to expect. The real sort of a treat here, I mean, you've got trigger finger hands as well. The real treat are these two differing length pointy finger hands, for want of a better expression, where the liquid metal has turned into the now infamous spike. And I've got to say, these are really, really nice. There is a right and a left hand. One is slightly shorter than the other, as you can see, but the paint applications are really nice on there. The material itself feels like it's slightly different to the finger, sorry, to the hands themselves. Or actually, no, it doesn't. It's a straight continuation. They're not using a different material. But the gradiated silver paint on there is really nice as it blends in to the forefinger there, and the level of sculpt and detailing on the hand itself is very nice indeed. And as I say, one long, one short, which is great to see. So that's the hands. Let's get those out of the way. A couple of spare wrist pegs, always great to see those in case you need them. Put the hands over there. When we're talking about spares as well, you also get some spare buttons. I'm assuming these are for the uniform that he's wearing when we bring the figure out. Usual story here, if you lose one of those buttons, dab a crazy glue and problem solved instantaneously. So nice inclusion as always from Hot Toys. We'll take a quick look at his belt. Now, I'm not sure what this is made out of. I am going to have to assume this is pleather here. I don't think it's leather. I'm going to hazard a guess that it's not leather, but yeah, it's got all the relevant stuff on there. The plastic pouches, you've got the walkie-talkie, which is removable, the flashlight, which is removable, which is painted in that high gloss black paint. You've got a holster for the Beretta, and it's a double fastening buckle at the front here, which is reinforced with this stud. It's nice to see everything's been put into the belt as well. So yeah, that's the belt that you have to attach. Put that to one side. Swap out shiny shoes for when he's in his dress uniform, police officer's dress uniform, and yeah, nicely sculpted, nicely detailed, super high gloss finish there, and we've got some tread on the bottom as well, which is always good to see. So yeah, well, while we're on the subject of footwear, the figure itself comes with the motorcycle cop boots, a pair already on, but you also get these swap out ones, which are designed to sort of indicate him turning from liquid form back into sort of humanoid form. And the paint applications on here are really nice. They're a sort of a soft plastic, going down to a slightly harder plastic at the bottom there, because they've got those flat sections inside where they peg onto the legs. But the silver paint applications are really nice. You've got that gridded sort of metal effect going on about halfway up the boot. The gradation into the black in the paint application is really nice. And overall, yeah, a nice addition there, and something that wasn't included in the original 2009 release. So yeah, nice inclusion there from Hot Toys. So that's the swap out boots. While we're on attire, you get his motorcycle cop helmet. Now, I can't see any real deviation here from the original version of the figure here. I had a bit of an issue with this helmet on its release in the initial figure, because it separates here where this black section meets the white section. So you have to attach the bottom part of the helmet first, then you attach the sunglasses, then you attach the top part. And this is where I actually broke the sunglasses on the original figure. It was way too tight, the tolerances weren't too good. I'm hoping that's been fixed, but we'll soon find out. The actual helmet itself is really, really nicely done. You've got this super high gloss white finish on the top, which is contrasted with the super high gloss black at the back. That lip at the front, and then you've got the police department decal in silver on the front there, and overall really nicely done. And it's got foam inlays on the inside as well to minimize any damage to the head sculpt. So that's the helmet. As we mentioned before, you get an MP5 and a Beretta. I'm not going to go into too much detail on these. Hot Toys are past masters of weapons. Both have got detachable clips with painted in bullets. You've got a sliding action on the Beretta and a cocking action as well, and they're up to the usual high standards. You've got a safety on the MP5, and yeah, usual story. Very nicely done weaponry. You get the doohickey for the purse system. Comes with two head sculpts. Both with, well, I mean, one has just the one moving eye, but we'll get to that. But yeah, so you get the doohickey to alter the eyes. The sunglasses. Now, I would have been tempted to go metal, but I'm going to try and keep away from comparing this to the original, because we're going to do a separate video on that. But yeah, plastic sunglasses. I'm going to issue the standard warning I always issue in my reviews. If you are picking up this figure, be super careful. With any glasses in 1/6 scale that are made out of plastic, they break exceptionally easily. But these are nicely done. They've got a grey metallic paint finish, they're all plastic, and they've got that sort of slightly darker shaded look on the front there. So yeah, that's the sunglasses. You even get his pen, small plastic pen to fit in his top pocket as well. You get a set of handcuffs. Now the chain that connects these handcuffs I believe is metal, but the handcuff sections themselves painted silver plastic, and I believe they're functional, he said confidently. Yes, they are, they're functional. So pair of handcuffs. You get, let's take a look at the appendages. I'm going to call them appendages. They're now legendary appendages. You've got the two hooks as well. Now, once again, sculpted plastic, gradiated paintwork there to blend into the police officer uniform, with slight creases in the end. Very effective. Swap out simply by pegging them on. I'm assuming the same way it did with the original. And just super high gloss silver paint finish, and nicely sculpted and detailed. So, yeah, that's the two hooks. You also get the blade. The now famous blade, and very similar to the hooks as well. Slight dirty mark on there. That looks like a slight imperfection there, straight out of the box, but not a deal breaker. But yeah, it's the long bladed version of the hook there, with that same blending in of the paint application at the end. You get multiple bullet hits which attach to his chest by magnets. They've all got magnets on the back there, and they're sculpted plastic. You get two doubles with two magnets on them. You get two singles, slightly larger singles, and then you get three smaller singles. And these are tiny, so I would exercise caution with these. These could fly off and disappear. But overall, yeah, the sculpt, paint and detailing on there is really nice, and the magnets are super strong. They're attracting each other on the table here. So that's, and I'm going to group them all together so they all stick together. So that's the bullets, the bullet holes. Let's take a look at the outfit. The motorcycle cop outfit. You get some swap out socks. Obviously, for the boots themselves don't need socks, but when you put on the shiny shoes, you're going to need the socks. So you simply slide these over the ankles before you put the shoes on. So cotton socks, and you get the trousers for the motorcycle cop outfit, and yeah, very nicely done. Nice stitch work there. Feels like a high quality cotton in that deep blue, and yeah, overall very, very nicely done. So that's the pants. And finally, you get the jacket in the clothing department, the motorcycle cop jacket. This is done in a nylon. It's got a lining in there, this sort of grey breathable lining. It's got a 6 scale zip down the front. I'm not sure whether these pockets are functioning. No, they don't appear to be. But overall, yeah, the stitch work is really nice. The finish is really nice. I think, and I'm going to have to double check this before I do the comparison video, I believe the original patches on the elbows here were just stickers, and that, whereas here they look a lot more secure. But yeah, it says Los Angeles Police on the side there. You've got the ID badge on the chest there, which is sculpted in plastic, painted in silver and gold with the badge number on there. And overall, yeah, very, very nicely done. Elasticated at the waist as well for authenticity. So yeah, screen accuracy looks on point, and the colour looks on point, and the stitch work looks very, very good indeed. So we're off to an excellent start. That is the motorcycle jacket. We will take a quick look at the base. The base itself, now this is a major departure from the original. With the original, we got the usual Hot Toys oval, standard oval, but what Hot Toys have done here is gone all in with the diorama, and I am liking this a lot. Big footprint on this guy. We'll take a look at the bottom first. No felt pads. Come on, Hot Toys, we need felt pads on something this size. We don't want it moving around, but yeah, it's all plastic, and what you've got is this black plastic section at the bottom there. On the front, you've got T2 Judgement Day T1000. Now I think, now this is cold to the touch, so I'm going to assume that this is metal at the front there, which is really nice to see, because lately we've been seeing a lot of plastic nameplates on the front, so it's good to see that Hot Toys have gone metal here. On top of the base itself, you've got a sort of a brown metallic section. Now I'm assuming this grid work is meant to represent the foundry. You've got all this fire going on and flame effect underneath, which I'm assuming is some kind of insert, but or it's clear plastic, because this whole thing illuminates using a USB-C. But we'll take a look at that when we bring the figure out. But yeah, you've got this sort of rusted metal effect paintwork on the grid there, really, really nice. Around the back, on-off switch, and obviously a port for your USB-C as well. Now you have these two sections as well to complete the base. These are plastic connected by a metal chain, and obviously meant to represent the railings in the foundry. They're all plastic, but they've been sculpted and painted to look like metal, and the paint applications are really nice, particularly on these sort of warning yellow and black stripes that you get on the top there, with weathering on there. And the detailing is really good, and I am assuming that these two simply slot into the base in the appropriate holes there, and it doesn't want to cooperate at the moment, but I'm sure we can do that off camera. So yeah, that's the base, standard issue crotch grabber. Good to see that this is more central. We've had issue in the past with Hot Toys pushing the crotch grabber section too far to the back and that causing issues, but this one looks a lot more central. This one doesn't want to go in at the moment. I will do that off camera, but that is the rather spectacular base. I'm liking this a lot, can't wait to see it lit up. And as regulars to the channel will know, I'm not a huge one for light up features, but this might just sneak past my reservations. So we'll slide that back, and the last accessory, it's not really an accessory, it's the swap out head sculpt. We'll take a quick look at this. Now, in the original version of this figure, the 1.0 version, it came with a battle damaged head sculpt as well, but in that version it was split down the middle. With this version, they've opted for the gunshot wound to the head look, which literally goes straight through his right eye and out through the back of his head. But it's the first time we get to see this, these head sculpts up close. I'm just going to alter this lighting and bring it in a little bit closer here, so you can get some really bright light on this head sculpt. Because I am going to save comparisons to, as I say, to the comparison video, but I've got to say I think this head sculpt is looking very, very good indeed. I'm loving the skin tones and textures. The hair is excellent, the style is right, the colour is right. I think they have captured that wound and how it's starting to sort of reform around the back of the head as well. And the great thing is about this section at the back here with that beautiful silver paint application, this acts as a way of disguising, if I can get this off, it's magnetically attached, disguising where the actual access to the one-eyed purse system is. So yeah, that fits on really nicely, and the fact that it's around the back there just really covers up that seam line quite well. There is a bit of visible seam line across there, but you've got to be looking for it. I'll try and get that in there around the back of the hair, but overall, yeah, skin tones, texture, paint applications, and even down to the creasing and some of the silver paintwork bleeding down into these creases and folds in his face around the wound. Very, very good. Eyes are the right colour, nice and glassy, or eye is the right colour, nice and glassy. So yeah, that's the swap out head sculpt. So that's all the accessories, folks. So without further ado, let's bring out the T1000. Let's get him on this rather marvellous base and have a close-up look at him. Okay folks, so here he is. It's the T1000 out of the box onto that diorama base, and first impressions. First impressions are pretty good. The proportions look on point to me. That uniform looks screen accurate. The head sculpt we will get to. Normally at this point he'd be on the turntable, but I wanted to show the light up feature on this diorama base. So I had to go minus the turntable at this point. And I've got to say, I am liking the light up feature here as well. But we'll do as we always do. We will get him off that stand and have a close up look at him. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. We'll start with these boots. Now, These boots are all one piece of sculpted plastic, high gloss. Now, there's very little movement in here. There's no split cut boot design, so you're going to get pretty much no movement out of that foot forward or backwards. Right or left is pretty good. So yeah, there's some decent movement there, but overall, nothing at all. It may have been nice to see a split cut boot design here. It's not ideal, this one, for posing, but you know, it's a compromise when you're looking at sort of these calf height boots. The sculpt itself is okay. There's an attempt at sculpting in lacework there. It's not the best detailing I've ever seen. There's some detailing down the sides for those laces as well, and an attempt at stitch work, but they're super high gloss. Tread on the bottom, which is nice to see. Working our way up now, this uniform, this deep blue uniform, the colour looks screen accurate to me. Now, it's very difficult to actually get a definitive idea of the colour, because it all depends on what you're watching the movie on. If you're watching it on a 4K streaming service, or 4K Blu-ray, or a DVD, or maybe even an old VHS, if that's your inclination. It can really change depending on the stock of the photography as well that was used in stills. So I will put a couple of shots up here of the actual uniform itself, so you can get an idea of how close this is. But don't take that as gospel, because, as I say, film stocks vary and quality varies from however you're viewing it. But overall, I think that colour looks pretty good. It's that deep blue. You've got the white stripe running up the side there. The stitch work is pretty good, although I did straight out of the box, I've had to remove a couple of hanging threads from the inside seam here of this leg, which is a shame, but it's not brought any stitching away. They were just excess bits which hadn't been removed. But overall, the stitch work is good, 6-scale stitch work, and you know me and my my OCD around 6-scale stitch work. Moving up, well, we'll check the articulation while we're here. And they've used a slim body here. There's no padding on this body, so I am assuming this is a body specifically designed for this particular character. Let's check the knees. Yeah, you've got a ratchet at the knee there, which will go up to 90 and beyond. So you've got a really good range of motion in that knee joint there. There's a swivel at the thigh area. There's a good range of motion at the hip area as well. It does feel like there's a little bit of padding around the waist area, but not much. As far as the leg spread goes, you get a decent leg spread there. That's only limited by, obviously, the stitching in the crotch area there, which is very good as well. Moving up, you've got this slim belt. Obviously, you've got the swap-out utility belt with the holsters and so on for the other look. And there's multiple looks you can go for with this figure. Obviously, there's the police officer look, there's the motorcycle cop look, and sort of variants in between there. And I will be doing I'm not saying a kit bash, but I am going to be using the body of the original T1000 to produce the motorcycle cop version, but we'll save that for the comparison video. Moving up, the shirt itself, let's get the camera as close as we can. I get him into shot here. Stitch work, really nice. Those pockets are really nicely done. You've got buttons on the front there in deep blue. Looks like they've used snaps on this shirt. I am not the biggest fan of snaps on 1/6 scale figures. I would like to have seen the Indiana Jones solution of some magnets running down the front there, but that's just my personal taste. Collar's a little bit skewed straight out of the box, but overall that shirt is looking nice. Dust magnet, obviously, with it being this deep blue. The badge, sculpted plastic, it feels like that's actually, it doesn't feel like it's glued on. It feels like there may be some sewing solution to keep that badge on there. But once again, as with the helmet and the jacket, the sculpting and the paint application is really nice. Shirt itself in the sleeve area, nicely done, no loose stitching. The lapels on the top there, the pips, nicely done. Around the back, you've got those pleats in the back, and the stitch work once again very nice. Let's check the articulation at the waist. Yeah, there's a small amount, so it's not the best swivel I've ever come across at the waist there. Very little movement going on there. There is a sort of ab crunch going on, but not a vast amount. Yeah, I would say the articulation in the upper body here is not brilliant, unfortunately. There's very little movement there at all. And there's very little movement in the chest area either. You've got a ball joint obviously at the shoulder there, and it's a butterfly joint, so it pops up and down there because his shoulders need dropping down a little bit, in my opinion, because straight out of the box they're riding quite high. Elbow joint is the usual story there, up to and beyond 45, so you'll get his hands will go right up the way up to his face there. The hands themselves, these are the other relaxed hands that we spoke about in the accessories section. Sculpting, detailing, paint applications, all exactly the same as the other hands. Absolutely spot on, as we've come to expect from Hot Toys. Moving up to the... Now this is where I encountered my first problem with this figure. As with all Hot Toys figures, straight out of the box it had the plastic wrapping around the neck. Had to remove the head sculpt, obviously, to get to the... so I could remove that plastic, and what the issue I had is this undershirt, this white sort of t-shirt, cotton t-shirt underneath. Now I heard a lot of people say this is riding too high and isn't screen accurate. Now once again I will pop up a photograph so you can decide that for yourself. The issue for me is when you swap out the head sculpt, and this is always a problem when you've got material shirts on a fixed neck head sculpt. Getting that head sculpt in there without it catching in the joint where the head sculpt meets the upper body is a bit of a ball ache. It took some time and some tinkering around with some tweezers. I would say be super careful, you don't want to damage that shirt, but it can be a case of getting some tweezers in there and tweaking the whole shirt out and then finagling the head sculpt on so it's not getting caught in there. But the head sculpt itself, now let's get this closer. I'm just going to alter the lighting, bring this lighting in a little bit more so you can see this. Now I think this is an exceptionally good Robert Patrick head sculpt, I do. I am saving the comparisons to the original for the comparison video, which will be coming up shortly. Stay tuned for that. We're going to just look at this figure as it stands. I think that is very, very good. I think it's exceptionally good. The sculpt is on point. Is it 100%? What head sculpt is, but damn, this is probably 95% there for me. Skin tones, really, really nice. There's not a vast amount of detail because he did, at that point in his life, have super smooth skin, but you've got the lips picked out really well. The eyes are nice and glassy. There's some furrowing in the forehead there. Certain angles, it does look more like Robert Patrick. I think that particular angle there, if you catch that angle, it looks very, very good. Very good indeed. The hair, exceptionally well done, as with the swap out head sculpt there. The individual strands are picked out, the styling is right, the colour's right. Obviously this has the purse system as well. We'll just swing him round, and it's simply a case of getting your finger in there, magnetically attached once again, and you've got access to the eyeballs in there as well. And the seam line there where the section comes off is pretty well covered, I have to say. To the untrained eye, you wouldn't spot that unless you were looking for it. Overall, yeah, I think that is very, very good. Is it better than the original? Well, we'll have to wait for the comparison video for that one. So yeah, that head sculpt, very nice indeed. So let's get him back on that stand. What we're going to do next is have to go through a verdict on this guy. You will see all the variant looks in the showcase at the end that we always do at the end of these reviews. But what we're going to do is add a few of the accessories, get him in a pose, and going for a final verdict on this guy. Okay folks, so it's time for a final verdict on Hot Toys version 2.0 of the T1000. aka Mr. Robert Patrick from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Where to begin with this guy? Let's start with the plus sides. We'll start with the accessories actually, and we'll start with this base. I am really impressed with this base. I'm loving it a lot. I don't normally like light-up features in my 1/6 scale figures, as regulars to the channel will know. However, I'm going to make an exception in this case. I really, really like that sort of fiery underglow that comes through that grille. to represent the foundry there. I think the light it casts on the figure is really good, and I think it looks really impressive. You can't really see the light that it throws up onto the figure in this sort of Studio S lighting, but trust me, when you dim the lights, that is one impressive base. I like the nameplate on the front, I like the scale of it, although it does have a big footprint, and I like those railings at the back. I think they're really well done. Other accessories, the swap out outfit with the motorcycle cop jacket and helmet, I think are really nice. The utility belt's really well done. The bullet wounds, the liquid metal bullet wounds, I think are exceptionally good, and I like the magnetic attachments there. What else? I think the swap out bladed and hooked arms I think look fantastic, and the paint applications and sculpt. Proportions of this figure nailed on as far as I can tell. I think they've captured the proportions there of Mr. Patrick perfectly. I think he didn't have a huge build, and they've caught that slimness but that muscularity really well. The head sculpt, the two head sculpts, I think are very good indeed. I don't think they're perfect. However, I think they are a marked improvement on the original, but I'm not going to get too deep into that, as I mentioned before, because we've got a comparison video coming up. Downsides on this particular figure. Now, it does have a few, and a lot of those are the same ones that the original suffered from. I have yet to attempt to put the motorcycle helmet on him, but it works in exactly the same way with the dark glasses, and I have the fear of God in me that I'm going to end up breaking those glasses again. But we'll see how that works out. Other downsides for me, no split cut boot design here. I would have liked to have seen a split cut boot design. The articulation in the feet is limited to right and left movement, no forward and back, so that's going to limit your posing possibilities. The outfit itself, as nicely tailored as it is, it's got some issues with stitching. Now, I've removed a lot, however, I discovered a lot more, and I don't know whether the camera's catching this there, but behind that boot there was some threads hanging down. On the wrist section there are threads hanging down. Around the back there were threads hanging down. Yeah, at this price point we'd expect slightly better tailoring. Now, they can be removed, it's not a deal breaker, and it's not affecting any of the stitching, but straight out of the box it's not a good look. Another gripe for me is how high that white shirt rides. Now, I've heard a lot of other people say this as well. A lot of other reviewers and so on, and collectors have said that t-shirt underneath there is riding too high. It does ride a little bit too high as well, and what doesn't help that is that when you swap out the head sculpts, you have to get a pair of tweezers or something in there to futz it up so that it doesn't catch in the neck joint. Now, unfortunately, by futzing it up there like that so you can get the head on, that means you've got to futz it back down, and you really do risk damaging that t-shirt getting it back down. I will be futzing it a little bit more, but it's a bit of a ball ache getting it to sit right and look screen accurate. The head sculpt as well. Now, I don't know whether the camera is catching this, but my particular head sculpt here, this neutral non-battle damage one, and I think the light will catch it just there, came with a shiny spot on the forehead right there, just above his left eye, and yeah, that shouldn't have got through QC. It really shouldn't. That looks like a discoloration that's or some kind of bump that's happened in the factory rather than in transit, and yeah, that's a bit annoying, and I'm going to have to tend to that. But overall, I think this is a great piece. I think it is fantastic. As a representation of Rob Patrick as the T1000, I think Hot Toys have nailed it, but it's not without its faults. Score, that's a tough one. I think it's a cracking figure. I think it's a great figure, but it's flawed in areas. I'm going to give this a 7.5, maybe an 8. I think 8, yeah, 8 feels comfortable. 7.5 if I'm feeling particularly not benignly disposed towards it. 8 if you caught me on a good day. I think the head sculpt is close to being perfect, but not quite on. There are some angles where it doesn't quite work, but overall, yeah, I think as a representation of the T1000 from Terminator 2, this is a cracking figure, and really a must-have if you don't have a T1000 in your collection, but you have other figures from the movie and you're a fan. Really a bit of a no-brainer. So there you have it, folks. That's Hot Toys' take on the T1000, their version 2.0. What are your thoughts on this piece? Have you got it on pre-order? Has it already arrived? Do you have the original version? Do you think that this is a vast improvement? I will be fascinated to hear your take on this particular piece. So please drop a comment in the comment section below. Nothing is off menu. What have we got coming up on the channel? Well, in the not too distant future, we have a new tour video coming up, so stay tuned for that. But we have more new figure reviews, stuff from Hot Toys, InArt, Susu Toys, Present Toys, Caustic Plastic, Exo 6, the list goes on. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification, as I mentioned at the top there, so you're not missing any of the good stuff that's coming up on the channel. And I suppose all that remains for me to say, as always, a massive thank you for watching from myself and from the version 2.0 of the T1000. Take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.